Buenos dias. Lesson 1.25 is primarily a review of the following. Vender, querer, comprar, tener, dar, llegar, entrar, subir, and sentarse. And so you'll notice at the beginning of lesson 1.25 that there is no instructional video. That's because in that this is primarily a review, there's not really a need for it at this point. And so you'll see hereafter from lesson 1.25 onward, you will not necessarily have the instructional video. That's the one which is indicated by my face within the lesson itself. You won't necessarily have one in every single lesson. And you also won't necessarily find it at the beginning of the lesson. Maybe appear in the middle of the lesson or even at the end of the lesson. And so in any case, in this particular lesson, it's not necessary. But what is necessary, what I think would be a good use of our time right now, the lesson itself will help you review the vocabulary, but we have the opportunity right now to focus on pronunciation of these new verbs. And it's a good review, I think, of the different principles I was talking about recently regarding accurate, authentic pronunciation in Spanish. What was the most important thing that I said to you regarding pronunciation? Well, it had to be everything revolving around the issue of the vowel sound, because that's where we as Americans, or we as English-speaking people, tend to go wrong. We create a diphthong. We change the shape of our mouth as we pronounce a vowel sound, whereas in Spanish the sound remains pure. Once you start saying the vowel sound, you don't move anything. You don't change the configuration of your mouth, your lips, your tongue, your teeth, etc. Secondly, we also want to clip the vowel sound short. We don't want to elongate or extend it. Another element, which is probably the second most important, is the issue of the letter R. Where is the letter R pronounced? Whereas in English, the R is pronounced down here in the throat. In Spanish, it's pronounced in the front of the mouth, where the tip of the tongue hits the roof of the mouth, right behind the teeth, one time for the single R sound. And when there's a double R, or there's an R in the initial position in a word, and you roll the R, in that case, the tip of the tongue hits the roof of the mouth right behind the teeth several times. It flutters, you might say, against the roof of the mouth, making a sound like R. Roberto, for example. Okay? So let's take a look at lesson 1.25. We're just going to focus today on the new verbs which you've been learning. In fact, even the old verbs we'll take a look at. And so we focus on their pronunciation today. And at the end of this lesson, not only is there a test, but there also are exercises dealing with the formation of complete sentences. And so once again, we're working on verb conjugation, on the proper use of articles as well as numbers, and in the pluralization of nouns. So that will be, we'll take a look at that in tomorrow's class. But we'll start today with a review of the verbs with a focus on pronunciation. So here we go, lesson 1.25. Well, here you see we're in the midst of lesson 1.25. You see the different verbs that you've learned up to this point, starting with vivir. And we'll just simply focus on the pronunciation of these verbs at this time. So let's warm up a little bit by means of the proper pronunciation of the vowel sounds in Spanish. Repeat after me. For example, in hacer. E. Now that's one of the most important vowel sounds to really focus on and to try and master, because that's probably the one we, along with the O, the one which we as English-speaking people tend to pronounce the least authentically. We tend to let our muscles droop right here or to relax, and we say as opposed to e, pushing the sound upward by tightening these muscles and by, in essence, almost smiling a little bit. And by cutting the vowel sound short, and very importantly, by not letting anything change in the configuration of our mouth and lips and all the different elements that go into the pronunciation. And so once I start to form the sound nothing moves. Otra vez. Again. Okay, like in hacer. Hacer. This is the second verb we're gonna see. You have the sound a, and then hacer. Okay, and then thirdly, e. Tighten these muscles right here in your face, along your jaw, and in your cheeks a little bit. E. Okay. O. Very important. Don't let the shape of your mouth change at all. Don't say oh like we do in English, but O. O, and cut the sound short. O. Okay, like in what words do you know so far? Hacer, escuchar, lavar, decir, preparar, comer. Oh, there, go. Comer. Go. O. Comer. Not comer, but go. Comer. Okay. Oh, after O, U. U. Okay, está bien. So what we're going to do now is we're going to focus first as we repeat these words, starting with vivir over here. We're going to focus on the vowel sounds exclusively, and then I'll have you repeat the whole word. Okay? So repeat the vowel sounds after me, please. E. Okay? That is the only vowel sound, isn't it, in the word vivir? And so let's just say the whole word. Vivir. Vivir. Now, the emphasis outside of the vowel sounds, when we deal with the consonants, that's everything that's not a vowel, like a B, C, D, F, G, etc. The consonant we focused on exclusively thus far has been the R, isn't it? It's been the idea that you pronounce the R in the front of the mouth with the tip of your tongue hitting the roof of your mouth right behind your teeth, and you say vivir. In fact, if you go through this line of verbs right here, you see that from vivir, hacer, escuchar, lavar, decir, of course, every single one of them ends in the sound, that sound right there, r. And that sound is the letter, by the way, the letter R, as you'll discover once we deal with the written language. It's very important that you avoid getting that R down your throat and saying vivir, like an English-speaking person. We want to get that R in the front of the mouth, vivir, vivir. If you have difficulty at all, this is not an ideal solution, but I just want to mention it to you. If you were to pronounce that R as a D, as an English D, I suppose, vivir, hacer, escuchar. Now that's not ideal because actually that's a form of the verb that you're not trying to create at this point. But nonetheless, were you to say it as a D, you would be closer to correct pronunciation than saying an English-speaking R, like an American R, especially escuchar or hacer. We get it in the front of your mouth. Okay, now in the third verb, let's focus just on the vowel sounds. We have escuchar, so it's e. Repitan después de mí. Repeat after me. E, U, A. Cut those vowel sounds short. E, U, A. Escuchar. Escuchar. Okay, make sure you're repeating. Escuchar. Okay, now when you're saying that last vowel, that last consonant, excuse me, it's r. Get your tongue at the roof of your mouth, right behind your teeth. Escuchar. Okay, not escuchar down in here. Okay, next, lavar. Lavar. And last of all, decir. Decir. Now, notice how I'm pronouncing the letter D, the initial letter in that word. The. If you look closely, you probably see my tongue appearing between my teeth briefly, just the tip of my tongue. That's there to soften the sound. The sound of the D is not a hard, explosive D in Spanish. It's a softer sound. Your tongue is there to soften the sound by appearing between the teeth. It's almost a TH, but it's not as exaggerated. In English, a TH is the, with your tongue sticking out quite a bit. This is just the tip of your tongue. Decir. Okay, now say decir again and think now about the e. Smile a little bit, tighten the muscles in here. De. And don't allow them to droop, and don't change anything in the shape of your mouth. De. Decir. Okay, decir. Muy bien. Next group of 5 verbs right here, starting with preparar. I'm going to read them through once totally incorrectly, using an American accent. What's going to cause the American accent? Well, it's getting that R down in your throat. It's elongating the vowel sounds and changing the shape of your mouth as you say them. That's essentially what's going to cause the American accent. So American accent sounds like preparar. Preparar, comer, gustar, mirar, poner. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say the verb in 2 different ways. One incorrectly and then correctly. I want you to repeat the second one. Okay? So I want you to see first if you can hear the difference between the two, and I think it's pretty obvious, but that you repeat the proper one. Preparar. Preparar. Okay, it's that second one you're supposed to repeat. Let's try it again. Preparar. Preparar. Okay, what was the difference you really heard? Well, it's of course the position of the R, where I'm pronouncing it, and secondly, it's the length of the vowel sounds. I'm extending them in the first poor example. Okay, let's try the next one. Same thing. Comer, comer. Okay, notice, hopefully as you repeat the second one, and as you repeated it, as you heard the first one, what was the problem with it? I'm saying comer, and you don't change the shape of your mouth. It's go, and then me. Comer, comer, comer. And that, the tip of my tongue hit my teeth right, or the roof of my mouth, right behind my teeth. I'm not making the sound down my throat. Okay, third one, gustar. I'm sorry, I should say it incorrectly first, then correctly, to be consistent here. Gustar, gustar. Okay, next one, mirar. There's a lot of ers in that word, mirar, mirar. Mirar. Okay, and last one. Make sure you're repeating after me here. Poner. That's a horrific one. You're saying o, po, a, poner. That's grotesque. Poner. Poner. Okay, let's scroll down here, down to the new verbs we've just learned, starting with no, excuse me, that's conocer. Starting right down here with vender, vender. Okay, we have the sound e twice. Vender. Okay, I'm not going to say, I'm not use the improper pronunciation. I'm just going to use the proper one here. Please repeat after me and really focus on chopping your vowel sounds short. Tighten the muscles in this part of your face. Don't change the shape of your mouth as you say the word in any way. And let's hit it. Here we go. Ven. Notice, by the way, the V is not V. I don't put my teeth or my teeth against my lower lip here like we did in English. V, like in very, vender. It's my lips just touch briefly, quickly. Ve, vender. Ven. Repeat. Ven. Ver. Vender. Okay, next one. It's right here, by the way. Que. Notice how after I get past the sound k, I form the sound e and nothing changes. Que. See, it's all staying. The configuration of my mouth is staying consistent all the way through. Que. Red. Now here you have two R's back to back. That's kind of tough, but you hit the roof of your mouth twice. Red. Red. Que red. Okay, get that R in the front of your mouth. Get it out of your throat. Querer. It's like I said, it's closer to querer with two D's than it is to querer. Okay, querer. Okay, next. Here we have that right down here. Comprar. 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 Okay, the next one here. Te. Ner. Tener. Okay. This is just one vowel sound. Really quick little word, one syllable word. Dar. Dar. Again, remember, get your teeth, or the tip of your tongue appearing between your teeth to soften the d. It's not dar. It's the. Dar. Okay. Llegar. Now, I have to confess something at this point. There are two different ways to pronounce the double L. It's the y sound in Spanish is made by the double L, those two letters. We're not concerned with spelling now, but you need to know there are really two different ways in which people pronounce that. You will hear it sometimes pronounced like a Y in English. Llegar. Poorly pronounced would be llegar, but well pronounced you'd have llegar. But you will also hear people pronounce it almost like a J in the Spanish-speaking world. Llegar. I will say it with a very gentle J sound. Llegar. You almost can't hear it. Repeat. Llegar. Okay? Llegar. Most important there, really more important even than the initial J sound, is the E. Don't allow your face to change, anything to change in the pronunciation of the sound E. Once you begin it, chop it short. Llegar. Okay, next we have entrar. so difficult for Americans to avoid saying N. Once you see this word spelled, you see it's the letters E-N. For us, E-N is N. E-S is S. When you see the word for escuela, it's really spelled E-S-C-U-E-L-A. And as Americans, if we see it much too early and we think that using the English phonics system and the pronunciation of that letter or that word is the norm, it's very easy for us to say grotesque things like escuela, even escuela. Okay? It's not You tighten these muscles in your face, you almost smile, you push the sound upward, and it's nothing moves, nothing changes. Escuela. Escuela. Okay. 2 more words. Subir. Repeat. Su. Not su, but su. Okay. Subir. Notice that the B and the V, there is a little distinction. Some people make no distinction. Other people will make a slight distinction between the pronunciation of V and B. But I personally pronounce both the V and the B identically. Subir. So you don't know if that's a B or a V. It happens to be a B, by the way. But subir. Subir. Okay. Next, sentarse. Se. Repitan después de mí. Se, sentarse. Okay. Well, it's a lot of focus on pronunciation, but I don't apologize for it. It's very, very important. And I'll come back to you tomorrow in tomorrow's class and talk about the formation of the sentences at the end of this lesson, lesson 1.25. So now it's up to you to go to review these verbs, review the vocabulary you learned in the course of lesson 1.24, and to form the complete sentences at the end of lesson 1.25. See you tomorrow. Adiós, hasta pronto.